Hello everyone and welcome to an incredible game that just finished from round 3 of this year's FIDE World Cup. It is Maxime Vachier-Lagrave versus Javokhir Sindarov, and both of them are really extraordinary players. Of course, Maxime needs no introduction. He's been in the FIDE World Cup many times, 2 times in 2013 and 2017. He got into all the way to the semifinals, and in 2019 he even got 3rd place in the FIDE World Cup, and now he would very much enjoy taking it all the way and qualify for the candidates tournament, where on the other hand we have Javokhir Sindarov, who is well, almost 100 rating points lower rated, but as all the other grandmasters from Uzbekistan, he's just deadly. In 2021, also in the FIDE World Cup, he knocked out Alireza Firuza in round 2, if you guys remember, after drawing the classical games and then going into tiebreak. So he knocked out Alireza 2 years ago. He can definitely play against anyone. And here it's a very short game, and well, something terrible happens for one of the players. Let's check it out, and you guys will have a great pause the video moment. No, 2 great pause the video moments. So let's dive straight into it. Maxime with the white pieces opens with e4, and we have pawn to e5. So going for the symmetrical stuff, knight to f3, knight to c6, and Maxime goes for the Ruy Lopez, bishop to b5. We have a6, Morphy's defense, bishop to a4, knight to f6, and now castles and bishop to c5. So the standard stuff, the Neo-Arkhangelsk variation. c3, all the Moeller's defense, it's been called by many names. c3, we have b5, attacking the bishop, bishop to c2, and now pawn to d5. Again, been played many times. d4, the absolute top move here, but here we have pawn to a4 by Maxime, going for an extremely sharp line. D captures on e4, a captures on b5, and now e captures on f3. A very early piece sacrifice by Maxime, and now he just plays queen captures on f3, where he wants to capture the knight, either by the pawn or by the queen, or if the knight moves, you're going to lose the rook on a8. So what can you play here? Of course, pawn to e4, but it doesn't really do all that much. Bishop captures on e4, and now knight to e5 offers the rook, but the queen here is attacked, and just queen back to e2. Now, if some of you are wondering, can you actually give up the queen here? Not really. You could play something like bishop captures on a8, knight captures here, and bishop captures on f3. But after a move like queen to d3, you have, I mean, okay, you don't have a material compensation regardless of how you play it, but here your position is just terrible, plus you're down material. I know some of you were probably thinking about that. So here, after this knight to e5, we have queen back to e2, and now castles. And here, what's the move that you play? Do you play pawn to d4 and go after the fork here, or do you play bishop captures on a8? While bishop to captures on a8 is a very nice move, it's a really complicated one, because after bishop captures on a8, you get this nasty knight to d3 move. Now again, completely paralyzing the development of white's pieces. And now after, let's say, pawn to b4, you want to chase away the bishop. Rook e8 attacks the queen, and there's no good square for the white queen. The best move is just queen captures on e8. If you play something like queen f3, then bishop to g4 comes. If queen g3, then bishop to d6 comes. And now you're just dead lost. If queen to h4, you're going to play bishop to e2. Now with the threat of bishop captures on f1, also queen captures on a8 is a threat. Just a complete mess. So while it can be played, you can't really play it just like this. You have to play it engine perfect. So instead, after castles, you have pawn to d4, going after the knight and bishop, and okay, the rook is still hanging. Bishop to g4 now, attacking the white queen. And now again, can we play f3 here? Well, if you play f3, then Javokhir just gives back the piece. Bishop captures on d4, c captures, queen captures on d4, with check, of course, and after queen to e3, you just trade everything down. Captures, you're going to play knight captures on e4, pawn captures somewhere, or you can even play b captures on a6 if you want to postpone the capture, sort of creating a pass pawn. But regardless of how you play it, black will always be a little bit better. For example, rook captures, and now you're up a pawn, and black has a slightly better pawn structure, so black would be better here. So probably in that position, you should just capture on a6 and postpone the capture. So f3 is not the best of moves. We have instead, after bishop to g4, we have queen to c2. Now you do have some pressure on that h7 pawn. So knight captures on e4, queen captures on e4, and now attacking, this puts pressure on the bishop, so bishop back to d7, and now b captures on a6. Maxime creates a passed a pawn, bishop to b5 attacks the pawn and the rook on e1, and now queen captures on e5. Sacrifices the exchange. bishop captures on f1, king captures, and now bishop to a7. So even against the Ruy Lopez, even in the Ruy Lopez, Maxime finds a way to sacrifice the exchange. It's very rare that you will see Maxime playing a game without sacrificing the exchange somewhere. So knight to d2. You have to start developing your pieces, and now pawn to c5, putting pressure on the center. And while you can create a pass pawn immediately with d5, Maxime says, all right, let's first get our pieces on optimal squares. It's not like black can do anything to prevent this. And even with captures, which was played in the game, still you will be able to advance your passed pawn. So rook to e8 attacks Maxime's queen, queen to f5, and now bishop captures on d4, winning back one of the pawns and offering the bishop for knight. But Maxime, of course, goes for checkmate. He plays knight to g5, now threatens queen captures on h7 and queen captures on f7. g6 would be a terrible mistake because then this would just be checkmate, but h6 actually can be played because now, while you can capture on f7, after king to h8, you don't really have all that many squares. Yes, you can threaten even checkmate because the knight is hanging, so you just have to go back and then the bishop moves and the game continues, where black is always slightly better. But maybe it's even the best course of action after this h6 move. However, in the game queen to h7 check was played, we have king to f8, and now you just go back. The problem is, okay, it looks like maybe you could do something, let's say something like bishop to d2 with bishop to b4. Well, it is very nice. If you play this, black will just stop it with queen to b6, and you don't really have a move. You can't even play rook to a4 to prepare this, because if, let's say, rook a4, then queen b5 check picks up the rook on a4, so there's really no way to do it. Instead, after king to f8, knight back to f3. Okay, this attacks the bishop, and now queen to b6, defending the bishop. And here, Maxime makes his first real mistake of the game, and he plays knight captures on d4. Here, the way to play this is just to continue development. Bishop to d2. Yes, you have to give up the pawn, but what are you going to do? If rook b1, queen captures on a6, you have to give up another pawn, and after king g1, now you have to play something like f5 in order to help out with the defense of the black king. You can even give up this pawn. It's not really a problem. Just queen back to f6, and now the game continues, but black is always up the exchange, however you put it. You don't need more than that. But instead, after queen to b6, knight captures on d4 was played by Maxime. And now feel free to pause the video and try to find the move that Maxime missed and the move that will cost him the chance to win, or even maybe just qualify for the candidates in the FIDE World Cup, while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this brilliancy. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is rook captures on a6. That is the move that has to be played here. And I will show you why, but just in case I forget to mention it, congratulations to everyone who found it. You're a true spotter of incredible moves, because if queen captures on d4, then you just develop bishop e3, and if rook captures on a6, now yes, you cannot capture the queen because the rook captures on a1 will result in checkmate. You can just move the rook and then the game continues. Black didn't really do all that much. However, after rook captures on a6, not a lot can be done here, because if you trade rooks, then queen captures on a6 comes with check. You cannot touch the e file, so you have to go back, and now just rook to e1 is checkmate. So it's that simple. However, after rook captures on a6, Maxime instantly played pawn to g3, sort of announcing that maybe it's Javokhir that blundered with rook captures on a6, because now he's willing to give up the rook and the bishop to play knight to f5 and to checkmate the black king. So what is happening here? You tell me. Feel free to pause the video for the second time and win the game for Sindarov while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on again looking past the obvious. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is queen to b7. That is the move that wins the game, and there is no defense here. Queen to h1 is coming, and the rook cuts off the king from the e file, and that's pretty much it. The game did continue for a few more moves, and we will show it. But just to show you what Maxime's idea was, it was after rook captures on a1. For those of you who were thinking that, knight to f5 now threatens checkmate, and now of course if you capture the bishop here, then you just lose the game. If king to g2, you can give one more check, king h3. And now, okay, f6, the queen does sort of defend, but then just a nice check. The king has to move. You're going to deliver another check, king e6, and now you blunder the queen. So that's one thing, and after knight to f5, if you don't do that, the only way for black to draw is to not go for this, is to actually play rook to e1 with check, but white will ignore you, king to g2, because then rook comes with check, and then black will be better. So here, king to e8, this is how you avoid checkmate, and after queen to g8 check, king to d7, queen captures on f7 check, king to c8, and now queen to f8 with check, queen to d8, and now you're going to have some sort of a perpetual with queen to f8 to c5 check, or it doesn't really matter how you do it. It's a very, very dangerous position to be in. You will have to settle for a perpetual here. However, after g3, queen to b7 was played, and now there is no escape. Now Maxime has to play something, queen to h8 check, king to e7, and now probably best would be to trade the queen for rook, but this is just, you know, okay, you're gonna play for a while, but you're gonna lose the game. So he didn't play that. I'm just gonna show it to you. Rook captures on a6, let's say queen captures, and you have a bishop and knight for a queen. Okay, you do have the passed b pawn, and you can push it to b4. So, you know, it's not that terrible, but of course objectively black is much better here. So queen captures on g7 was played instead, but now we have rook captures on a1, and the bishop is off next. We have knight to f5 with check, king to e6, knight to d4 with check, king to d5, and now knight to f3, and just rook captures on c1 with check. We have king to g2, and now rook to c4, queen captures on h6, and now rook to e6, and he was in this position on move 34 that Maxime Vachier-Lagrave resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. There's simply too much material. Javokhir is up in exchange and a full rook, so it would be pointless to start playing this. Of course, the queen controls this diagonal, so even the knight can't really move, and it's very, very simple to actually finish this. You're just gonna, let's say, hide the king behind the black queen. The queen already controls this diagonal, so this is perfect, and you're probably going to put the rooks on f5 and f6, hone in on that knight on f3, and just start capturing. There is absolutely nothing Maxime can do about this. So yeah, big congratulations to Sindarov. It seems that Maxime will not be going to the finals or the candidates through the FIDE World Cup, but for Javokhir, that option still exists. So yeah, and that's the game. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Brilliant stuff by Javokhir. And like Peter Leko mentioned in the commentary during this game, after knight captures on d4 was played, and queen captures on d4 did not come as an automatic response. Once you see this and once you feel this, you know, you just captured, and you know that your opponent has to capture. You know, in your head you already decided that that is the only move that can be played, and your opponent just starts thinking. That is the scariest moment there can possibly be. You know that you've blundered something, and you know you're probably done for. But yeah, once again, really hope you guys enjoyed it. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.